It's the Morning Goods with Madelyne Woods on News Talk 1450 WOL. It's a Wellness Wednesday. And so often we always talk about cleansing and eating right and eating clean and getting our bodies together, especially this time of year with New Year's resolutions and, new year, new me, I'm going to get myself together. Well, my guest now is going to help us possibly come up with a plan that we can stick with. Her name is Michelle Thorne. She's a vegan chef turned farmer, author, educator, and wellness enthusiast. She started out as a young entrepreneur and ran an award-winning graphic design studio in New York City for several years before taking on this new life. And then she did a 180-degree turn and started a career as an executive raw food chef at a vegan restaurant and wine bar. Good morning, Michelle. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I am fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me this morning. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited to talk to you, too, because I am such a hard convert, but I was on your website and looking at everything that you do with food and the process that you use to grow your food. I'm like, well, maybe I should get healthy. Maybe I need to get real with myself. So let's start there. Now, Michelle, you design food for the plate, right? And it's
Yes.
this whole process that you go through literally from the ground up. Tell me about your farming techniques. How do you raise clean food?
So the process that, growing food is not a new thing, right? Like people have been doing that for millennia. I think the way that I approach growing food, because I've just been a foodie most of my career, even when I was graphic designing, I was kind of doing this on the side. And the techniques that I use to grow food are not new. It's called permaculture, and it's really just a system of growing food that is very ecologically balanced and integrated. There's a synergistic approach. Everything has a job to do. So there's animals that are integrated into the system. It's chemical free, so the food is clean. There's no pesticides that are used, and it's just a very synergistic way of growing food, sometimes very intensely in small areas. And I'm a big advocate for taking personal responsibility and growing your own food when you can, where you can, because you can grow food anywhere. Anywhere you
Well,
can
that's
grow
what I was
food.
about to say. The process that you're describing sounds complicated. You've got this integrated system where you even use animals to help with it. I don't know if I can do that in my little flower box in my backyard.
That's completely a valid point, and not everybody can do it the way that I'm doing it. Obviously, you need space, and that's one of the constraints is that, a lot of people just don't have access to land. But before I was here, I was growing food in very small spaces. Now, these days, there's access to vertical garden things that you can have on your balcony. I mean, at some point when I was living in apartments in California, I was growing food on my roof. I was growing food inside an old pair of jeans. I was
Oh,
growing,
wow.
a little small backyard. I mean, you can do it in pots and raised gardens and vertical gardens, hanging gardens, trellises. There's so many options that you can, and approaches that you can
Employ,
take
yeah.
to grow your own food. It's not possible for everybody, but, one of the things that I do is I install gardens for people at their homes. There's
Oh, that's
ways
good.
there's ways to grow food. There's so many innovative things that are happening in farming right now. A lot of young people are kind of turning back into farming because, a lot of people want to get closer to their food. They want to be able to trust where their food comes from because health and wellness, there's a big correlation between the food that you eat and the impact that it has on your health.
Okay, so make the case for vegan eating one more time. And keep it short because I want to get back to everything else. But why should we even consider a vegan diet?
Well, here's where I'm going to blow the thing wide open is I'm actually not going to make the case for vegan eating. I
Okay.
I spent many years as a vegan, as a raw food chef, and I think the major issue is fad diets can be problematic for a lot of reasons. And veganism, raw food, juicing, keto, paleo, like all of these fad diets, Atkins, eat for your blood type. I mean, there's been so many fad diets over the years. And I think part of the problem is, there's confusion. So for a lot of people, fad diets, it's a first step. People want to get healthy. They're like, okay, I'm gonna eat more plants. I'm gonna do plant-based. I'm gonna do keto. I'm gonna do paleo or whatever it is. And it's a first step to getting healthy. And that's a good thing, right? So I advocate for that. But a lot of times with fad diets, you're really just getting temporary results. A lot of these diets, they set you up to fail. There's so many constraints and restrictions and rules. It's very regimented. And that just doesn't fit into people's life and people's lifestyles. We are busy. We have children. We have families. We work. There's so many factors. And it's really just, in many ways, it's a business. Fad diets are a business. And I was a promoter of fad diets. I facilitated juice cleanses for years and years and years. And the thing that I saw over and over again, my clients would come to me, they'd be like, okay, I lost 10 pounds and, I feel really great. I've got a lot of energy. And then, a couple of months later, they feel the same. They're backed up, they feel sluggish, or something's happened, or they're dealing with a health challenge. And this roller coaster is something that is very prevalent. I think when people start talking about diet, I think what I wholly recommend 100% is a whole food diet, a locally sourced whole food diet with whole foods, not, adding raw food. I wrote a book about it in 2014.
What is the whole food diet? What does that look like? What should we be shopping for if we don't have our own farms? What is the whole food diet? When we get back, I want you to break that down for me.
You got it.
It's the Morning Goods with Madelyne Woods. It's a Wellness Wednesday, and we're talking to Michelle Thorne. She's a vegan chef and wellness educator. She's going to tell us what we should be putting on our plates and putting in our bodies. Stay with us. Back in a moment. It is 43 after the hour on News Talk 1450.
Coming right back. The Morning Goods with Madelyne Woods. 1450